All right, welcome back. So in this video, we are going to start by creating a new project and then getting the permissions that we will need in order to build an application that uses location features of Android. Therefore, let's go ahead and create a new project like so. And I'm just going to select the one with the empty activity, and I'm going to call this one location app. Or location basics would also be a good name, and let's go ahead and use that. And then so it will load a little while. As always, Gradle needs to do its thing, but once it's done, we can get started. Okay, so how do we add a permission? Do you recall how we did that? Well, we had it once, or we used it once, and that was inside of the AndroidManifest, where we added users permission here. So users permission. And then we needed to enter the name. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with internet, because it's always good to have access to the internet. We will need that later on in most apps. If you don't need internet, obviously don't add that. And then I'm going to add the permission. And here you have the location, and you can see you have access, course location, find location, media location, and so forth. So the ones that we're going to use is course location, which gives us a rough location, like roughly where you are. So what it uses is usually it uses the cell towers that your phone is connected to, or Wi-Fi connections, or the Wi-Fi network that you're connected to, or the Wi-Fi's that are surrounding you. So it's not super precise, but it definitely is doing its thing. So it's going to give you an idea. This is good enough for most locations where you don't need to know exactly where somebody is, but you just need to know which country they are, or in which state, or something like that. If you, however, want to have more details about the person's location, then you would use, let me just make it easier for myself. So find location. So there's this permission called Android permission access find location. So what that will do is it will give you very precise details about the location. So this permission allows you to access the device's location at a fine level of accuracy using GPS or other satellite-based positioning methods. So it's quite accurate, up to a few meters, which would be a few yards, I guess, in American. So basically not super far, like very good distance. You would know in which house somebody is, more or less, or you would know basically if they are close to a Pokestop, if you ever played Pokemon Go. So that's where the find location comes in. Now, the course location and the find location, they both require additional resources in terms of battery life on your phone. So if you ever use those, really make sure that you only use them when you actually need them, because otherwise you will kill the battery of the user and the user will dislike your application. So the course location requires less, because it's not going to need the GPS, it's not going to activate the GPS. But whenever you want to have GPS details and you want to have very detailed information about the position of the user, then you would use the find location, which would turn on the GPS or use the GPS and use a lot more battery. All right, so that's pretty much what I want to set up in this video. In the next one, we're going to get the permission at runtime. Okay, so this is really just the permissions that we're going to need. As you see, we always use this tag users permission and then Android : name, and then Android is smart enough to really help us out here and find the right permissions. So course location, find location.